Okay, first, it's gonna be a big cut. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to teach you is the notation on the cube. So what the notation is it is what side you're going to turn, so the names of each face of the cube and whether you're turning it clockwise or counterclockwise. This is an R move, it stands for right. So R normally is this clockwise. So if it were facing you, you'd turn it clockwise. And R prime, which is counterclockwise, is if it's facing you, you turn it counterclockwise. And so this is an R, this is an L, and U. And D moves is down. F is the front. Okay, and B is on the back. And that is the notation. So you need to know notation to learn new algorithms. You have to look at the algorithm and remember which sides you turn and stuff like that. The next thing I'm going to teach you is two simple moves. They each consist of 4 turns. So the first one is R, U, R prime, U prime. Okay. R, U, R prime, U prime. And the next one is the same exact thing as that, but mirrored on the other side. So it goes L prime, U prime, L, U. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna show you is, I'm just gonna, because when people who don't know how to understand the Rubik's Cube look at it, they normally think of it as like each piece moves individually, and it's more easy to think that on one that looks like this, where they don't really touch. So some people think of it as this is 4 different pieces and this is 4 different pieces, but in reality it's different. It's all composed of different pieces. So there's one white green edge, and there's only one on the entire cube. There's only one white, green, and orange corner, and there's only one green and orange edge. And so each edge is unique, and there's no multiples of the same edge. So with that in mind, I'll get to actually solving the cube. So the first step to solving a 3x3 Rubik's Cube is to get the white cross. The white cross looks like this, where you have a cross here, and each edge lines up with the center. And the centers on a cube don't move relative to each other. So if white is on top and green is in front, then orange will always be on the left. And so each edge lines up with its center. And so each white edge matches up with the center of the other color that is on the edge. So I'll be showing you the most beginner way to do the cross, and that is called the daisy method. So in the daisy method, what you do is you get all of these white edges around the yellow center, forming what looks like a daisy. How you're gonna do this is, if you see something like this, where it is, it would only take one move to move it up to here, then you will move it up, and it's that easy, and you just do that with as many as you can. But if you have one that's like this, where if you move it up, it'll move another one out of the way, then it's an easy fix. You just move that out of the way and then you move it up. And if you have one that looks like this, where it is on the bottom and you can't just do this to move it up, and because it'll be flipped. So what you can do is you can move this up one, and now you can see you have a case where you can move this out of the way and then move this up, and you have a daisy. So those are the main cases that you'll need to know to solve the daisy. After you solve the daisy, what you're gonna do is you're gonna choose an edge. It doesn't really matter which one. And you're gonna line it up to where it matches right here. So you can see this red of the white edge is matched up with the red center. And you're just gonna move it down to here. And so now you can see we have a portion of the cross made right here. So we're just gonna do that with all the edges. So I'll find the orange right here, line it up with the orange center, and move it down. And green, line it up, move it down, blue. Now you can see we have created our cross. So the next step is to finish solving the first layer. So the first layer is just this one side that you can turn. What we're gonna do to do that is we're gonna put all of these corners into where they belong. And so here you see we have the white, green, and orange. And in the middle, there will be a white, green, and orange corner. So we're gonna find that corner, it's right here. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it above where it'll go. So you can see right here, it's right above this corner slot that it will go in. And you're gonna do that first, one of those moves that I showed you. So it goes like this, R, U, R prime, U prime, and you're just gonna do that multiple times until this is oriented correctly in its corner slot. And now you can see it's in the corner slot here, and so we have a bit of a 2x2x1 block here. And so you're gonna do that with the other ones. This one right here, R, U, R prime, U prime. It's in there. This one, yep, it's in there. And now you can see we have solved the entire bottom layer. The next step to solving the cube is to solve this middle layer right here. So how we're gonna do that is we're gonna find the edges that belong in these edge slots, and then we're gonna insert them using a series of moves that I'm going to show you. What you're gonna do is you're gonna find a slot that you wanna insert an edge into, then you're gonna find the edge that you wanna insert into here. In this case, it's already here. And then you're going to do this to insert it. So you're gonna find the edge and you're gonna line it up with the color that's facing the front, and you're gonna line it up with its center. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna move it away from where it needs to go. So if it needs to go right here and to the right, you'll move it away. Then you're gonna do the move that I showed you. It's called a sexy move. Don't know why, but it is. R, U, R prime, U prime. Then you're gonna rotate the cube this way, and you're gonna do the left version of that move. So L, L prime, U prime, L prime, U. Now you can see it's inserted this edge into here. And so you're gonna do that with all the other edges. Now the edge may not have to go to the right, it may have to go to the left. So what you're gonna do in that case is you're going to line it up the same way that you did before, but once you see that it has to go to the left right here, then you're gonna just, instead of moving it this way, you're gonna move it again away from where it needs to go. So if it needs to go left, you're gonna move it to the right. So now it's on the right side, and you're gonna do the left version of the move first. So L prime, U prime, L, U. Then you're gonna rotate this way, R, U, R prime, U prime. You can see it is inserted into the slot. So the next case that you might have is one where you cannot find an edge in the top layer to insert into a edge slot, and that's because all of the edges are already in a slot. So you can see this one is in here, and this one's in here, and then this one's here, and this one's here. So what you're gonna do in this case is you're just gonna do one of those two edge swapping algorithms from any angle. And so what you're gonna do is just the R, U, R prime, U prime, and then turn it, L prime, U prime, L, U. And now you can see, you have this out, and so you can move it away, and now it's inserted. And then you'll have this one is now out, so you can do that, and basically it goes on. The next step to solving the cube is to get the yellow cross on the top of the cube. So to do this, there are 3 different cases. The first one is a line across the top of the cube. So what you're gonna wanna do for this case is hold it horizontally like this, to where each one edge that's facing up is on your left and your right. And then you're gonna do this new algorithm. It's still not super long, and it consists of the moves that you've already learned. So it goes F, and then you do the sexy move, R, U, R prime, U prime. Then you do F prime to undo the move that you did at first. Now you can see you have the yellow cross solved. The next case that you might have looks like this. It is an L case. So it'll look like this, and you may have, okay, hold on. Hello? There we go. And you may have a few corners solved like this, but we're not looking at the corners right now, we're just looking at the edge. And you can see this is an L case. So what you're gonna do for this case is you're gonna move it to where there's an edge, a solved edge on the bottom and on the right. And you're gonna do very similar to the one that we just did, but instead you're gonna do a wide F prime, or wide F, so that you're moving this entire L down. Then you're gonna do the sexy move. Then you're gonna do a wide F prime. Now you can see we have the yellow cross solved. The next case that you might have is a dot on the top. So in a dot case, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do at one, it doesn't matter which one, but you're gonna do one of the previous algorithms that I showed you. So you could do the one for the line, F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And now you can see that we have one of the other cases that you know. So this is the L case. And do wide F. And now you can see we have the yellow cross solved. So the next thing that you're gonna do to solve the cube is you're going to want to orient the entire top layer so that the entire top layer is yellow. So how you're gonna do this is you're gonna flip the cube upside down like this so that yellow is on the bottom, and you're gonna move one of the corners that needs to be twisted, and you're gonna put it in this bottom right slot like this, and then you're gonna do a sexy move until it's oriented correctly. So now it's oriented correctly, but once you do that, you don't want to rotate the cube. That will mess up the entire thing. Instead, you're just gonna move the bottom layer, so do a D move until you have another one that needs to be twisted, and then you're going to do the same thing, more sexy moves, until it is oriented correctly. And now you can see the entire top yellow layer is solved. Okay, so once you've oriented the top layer, you will you will get all the corners oriented to the right spot. So you can see I already have headlights, which is what it's called here, where they're both in the right spot, but these aren't. So you're gonna want to get those where they're supposed to be. So there's two cases for this. One is where you have headlights like this, and you're gonna put them on the side, and then you're gonna do this algorithm. It's a bit long, but don't be frightened because it's not horribly impossible to remember. So here we go. It goes like this. R, U, R prime, U prime, R, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. And so what that algorithm does is it swaps these two corners and these two edges. And so even though it's a bit long, it's best to memorize it, and it's not too horribly difficult to memorize because it's composed of a few different things. Like you can see at the beginning, it has the sexy move, and at some point it has something called a sledgehammer, where a sledgehammer goes R prime, F, R, F prime. And that's a pretty common move that you'll use a lot usually when you're cubing. It shouldn't take too horribly long to remember it. The next case you might have is if two edges that need to be swapped diagonally. So what you're gonna do for this case is you're going to hold it where the two corners that are already where they're supposed to be are on the left, the top left and the back right here. And then you're gonna do this algorithm. It's about as long as the other one, which may seem super long, but again, it has some similar things and it's decently similar to the other one as well. So it goes like this. F, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. Okay, and then it goes R, U, R prime, U prime, sexy move, and then sledgehammer, R prime, F, R, F prime. And you can see it won't always be solved once you finish that, but in this case it was. You will usually have something that looks a bit like this or this. But I'll teach you how to solve this in just a second. So, next thing I'll be teaching you is how to solve the cube once you have all the corners in their correct spots, and all you have is a few edges that need to be swapped around in a certain way. And so what you're gonna do here is, first, you're gonna figure out if you already have one side, a kind of bar solved here. And if you already have a bar solved, then you're gonna hold that bar facing you and you're gonna do this. R, U, R prime, U prime. L prime, U prime, L prime, U. So those are the two moves that you learned. And then you're gonna do what's called an inverse sexy. So what it is just the complete inverse of the sexy move, as you might have guessed. So it goes U, R, U prime, R prime. And then you're gonna do the same thing for this side. So it goes U prime, L prime, U, L. And it might be solved after that, but you might have another one that looks like this. So you'll just do it again. Like that. And once you do it twice with the solved side, then it should be solved. Now, If you don't have any solved sides, then you're just gonna do that same thing, but from any angle. So R, U, R prime, U prime, L prime, U prime, L prime, U, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, L prime, U, L. And then once you do that, you will have one of these cases. So you hold it and solve it. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. That'll be all. See you next time.